Tonight, this is your time. This is your moment. And this is your opportunity. Hey, let's go. Let's go!
One of these two teams just 20 minutes away from a berth in the tournament. Welcome back to Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. The Sun Belt Conference Championship here at the Summit Arena in Hot Springs, Arkansas. FIU against Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers looking for their 4th tournament berth in the last 6 years. Mark Jones chopping it up with Mark Adams. Coach TJ Price, their top scorer, spent a lot of time at the bench in the first half. What's it all mean?
Well, Western Kentucky still has a 2-point lead. Ray Harper has managed that well. But look for FIU to really turn up the heat defensively. They've got to get out in the open court and create some easy baskets against the bigger defenders of Western Kentucky.
FIU likes to turn up that pressure a little bit. Let's take a look at how Western Kentucky has a competitive edge, brought to you by Principal Financial Group. And cogent numbers from the first half of play. Which of those numbers really jump off the page at you, Coach?
Pretty simple. 45% from the floor for Western Kentucky. FIU far below that. That's why FIU needs to create some easy baskets.
FIU looking for its first ever NCAA tournament berth. It's enjoying their first winning season in 13 years. Pitino, the head coach, in his first season. Frank lost the handle, got it back. And Jurkovic with the rebound. The team's coming back with their starters to begin the second half.
When Western Kentucky went to man in the first half, FIU didn't settle for jump shots. They really attacked off the bounce.
Foul underneath as Frank missed the long ball. Fouls against the Hilltoppers. And Rostov, that's his first personal, team first of the second half. And another foul call, this one against FIU. Legal screen set by Jerome Frank, his second personal.
Remember when Western Kentucky opened the game against man-to-man, they pounded it inside to George Fant early in the half. I think they'll start that way again.
You can see what they run here. It's Price off the screen. Little two-man game with Fant and Price. There's the pick and roll. Fant couldn't finish.
That's textbook Western Kentucky offense. That's what they like to do. They like to get Fant, TJ Price, a little two-game on the right-hand side.
It's Derek Hill back the other way. He's been quiet offensively tonight after that 16-point performance last night in the upset win against Middle Tennessee State.
Tymel Murphy is the guy to fear, number 15 in white.
Frank with the long jumper, way off again. That was a wide right. The FIU basketball underneath. I think a 33% three-point shooter, just 3 of 12 last night and struggling here. 1 of 6 today.
If it's Smith shooting that shot, I'm all for it. But otherwise, you're going to shoot yourself right out of it.
Post up and a quick turnaround, and Fant knocks it down.
2 possessions, 2 touches for Fant inside. That's smart basketball.
And now with 7 in the game. Here's Murphy. Smith refuses the ball screen. Whistle and an offensive foul call against Malik Smith. So Fant doing it at both ends, Coach.
Fant is so active inside. He's a big, strong guy, moves his feet defensively. He always has good vision. This team is well-schooled defensively.
Fant has been a real key component of what they do at both ends of the floor, starting his last 43 games that he's played. Got a 3-on-2 here on the press break. I'm not sure that Fant wanted to pass that, but it worked out pretty good for them. Rostov with the bucket.
He'll take the assist.
Well, Coach Harper talked earlier about not only breaking that full court pressure that FIU puts on you, but making them pay, Coach. Why?
And that's the whole key. You just can't be a team that wants to break the press. You've got to score against the press. That's critical.
Murphy with a nice dime, a little bit low though. And a nice finish underneath by Frank.
A That's where Jerome Frank can really make a difference for this team. Go down inside, do a little bit of that dirty work.
6 points for him. Back to a 6-point game. Whistle and a foul. Foul is going to go against Derek Hill. That's his first personal. Talked about Hill, a walk-on last year and a walk-on again this year. Has started at point guard and owning that starting job out of South Miami High School. Jamal Crook at the free throw line, a 72% foul shooter on the season.
Louisville kid, what a shock. His favorite player is
Rajon Rondo?
There you go, buddy.
Cheated.
I kind of knew you'd get that. You know, I just had a feeling you'd get that.
Missed 11 games this year with a broken foot. Averages 12.2 points per. Western Kentucky looking for its 4th consecutive win in 4 days, duplicating perhaps what they did a season ago on their way to the NCAA tournament.
No team over the last 17 years of conference tournament play has won 4 consecutive games in 4 days, 2 consecutive years. Western Kentucky did it last year, and now they're in the same spot this year again with Ray Harper.
5-point lead for the Hilltoppers. Hill draws the foul on Crook. Nice little battle, coach, between these 2 point guards going at each other a little bit.
Yeah, with Derek Hill, sometimes the best defense just grab him. It's the only way you're going to slow him down. When we came into the arena last night, we just watched the games. We weren't necessarily familiar with, especially with FIU. But we both looked at each other. Who's that number 1? Who's that kid? He turned out to be the walk-on, and both of us felt like he might be the best player on the floor. Kermit Davis said he was the best player on the floor.
He was last night. Fant comes up with the loose ball. Here's Price in a rush. Rosto faked. He didn't need to. He was right at the bucket.
Big guy brought it down. That's a cardinal sin right there and got stripped.
Back out to Hill. Little 2-man game. Lee Smith. Boy, since knocking down those 2 early threes, coach, he struggled. How does he get going again?
He's got to take the ball to the basket. They're settling for jump shots right now. How do scorers get it going? They get to the free throw line by wanting the bump.
Smith going to launch away again, and this time finds the bottom of the net, undaunted. Malik Smith cuts it to a 2-point game.
The shortest memory in college basketball, that kid. He doesn't care. If he misses shots, he's just going to keep shooting.
And swings it around to Price, weak side. Whistle and a foul underneath. That's going to go against FIU. Toppers leading. Their future so bright. Yes, you got to wear sunglasses, coach, as we go inside the play.
This is what it's like to coach big guys. Keep the ball up. Keep it up. Keep it up. He brings it right down. And what does that do? Allows the defenders to go slap it right out of his hands. That's Derek Hill level at about 5'8". And when big guys play 5'8", that's a problem. He's got a big upside. He's got good hands. He runs the floor well. Lex Rostov's going to be a good player and has done some good things in this basketball game. But you got to keep the ball up. When you catch it high, finish it high.
Mark Jones courtside along with Mark Adams. One of these 2 teams trying to earn a berth to the NCAA tournament. FIU last night knocked off the number 1 seed. Middle Tennessee State. The Blue Raiders had a 17-game winning streak going. So I have a feeling that they'll get a spot in the tournament. And what a big-time move by George Fant inside.
George Fant got away with a little bit of a hook right there with his left hand on the backside and just whipped right around the defender.
Murphy. Leads Smith off that curl, and he throws it away. That's the 10th turnover of the game by FIU.
Western Kentucky has done a good job of going up against this full court pressure throughout the game.
How much does that wear down a guy like Jamal Crook?
You know, it could also wear down Derek Hill. It's not like there's a lot of guys to back him up.
Great point. Fant wheels, and that's going to be an offensive foul. Wow.
Foul number 44.
Watch George Fant. Watch his left upper body right there.
Oh, yeah.
See how he hooks him? He got away with the initial possession because it was so subtle, but that one was right out in front of the official.
Didn't see the hook from this angle, but it clearly was an offensive foul. Under 15 minutes to go.
There's the guy I'd like to see hunt a shot.
There he gets it on the move. And now Western Kentucky looking for the push. They've got numbers.
Look at that defensive transition. Just white jerseys getting back.
Three ball by Harris is good. Brandon Harris, a 32% three-ball shooter, knocks it down and makes it a 7-point game. .6'1" junior trying to give his team a little bit of breathing room. Back with more on the other side.
Chris Cotter in studio with the Sports Center right now. According to sources, Anquan Bolden was traded from the Ravens to the 49ers today. It's interesting, a Super Bowl opponent, for a 6th-round pick. And Percy Harvin goes from Minnesota to Seattle for the Seahawks' 1st-round pick this year. So a couple of big trades in the NFL. In the Southern Conference Finals right now over on ESPN2. Got a three-pointer here from Chris Cherapowitz. And Davidson right now has the lead over College of Charleston. Coming up on ESPN, 9 o'clock tip, Matthew Dellavedova and St. Mary's against Gonzaga, the West Coast Finals again. Mark?
All right, thanks a lot, Chris. Back here, Western Kentucky with the lead. Coach Harper looking on. His team up by 7, and George Fant, their main offensive guy so far, but some subtleties in what he does on the block.
Watch the good play on the left as he wraps with his left upper arm right there. He hooks the defender, and he gets around and goes right to the basket. Now watch on the baseline, does the same thing, but watch how pronounced the hook is right there as he hooks around the defender, and he's called for the offensive foul there.
That's the good and the bad of it. Smith off the screen. Back out to Hill. Murphy. Boy, how'd that pass get through? Bell got blocked. Loose ball out of bounds. And it's FIU basketball.
Well, what a night for the Pitino family. Richard Pitino playing for, at 30 years old as a head coach, playing for his first conference championship at a program that had 13 consecutive losing seasons.
And he's not going to be happy with that turnover, but for the fact that the Hilltoppers gave it right back when Crook stepped out of bounds.
Last night it was all over Twitter that his dad was going to come watch his son down here compete for a conference championship.
What a season. A team that was picked to finish 10th out of 11 teams in the Sun Belt. They've never been to the finals in the Sun Belt Conference before. First winning season in 13 years. Most conference wins, 11 since joining the Sun Belt Conference. As we take a look at tonight's Fresh Take, brought to you by Subway.
Fathers and sons.
I rattled off about 4 of them, and I got stuck after that.
Well, there's the John Thompsons.
Okay.
Pat and Bob Knight. Ray and Joey Meyer.
Very nice.
Gene and Murray Bartow.
Okay.
Clean Gene.
There's the list.
Homer and Scott Drew. Dick and Tony Bennett. Henry and Mo Iba. It's going back a little old school
Jeff
right
and
there.
Jeff.
Dan and Don Monson. I've coached against both of them. It was a disaster both times.
But never in the same tournament have
No.
they coached at the same time. It would be first if FIU wins today. Frank underneath. Nice fake. Got the layup. And the lead is down to 5.
Well, I like Louisville's chances to get in the NCAA.
Yeah, they
I gotta tell you that right now.
pretty good.
I think that's, yeah. I don't think they're too concerned about the bubble. Won the Big East tournament last season. Rick Pitino's an interesting guy. You know, in practice, his economy of language is such a great teacher, and I see that in Richard as well.
Loose ball. And they're going to call a foul against Murphy.
Foul number 15 of Hector. Timeout Murphy is second.
You know, the other thing is the brutal honesty of father and son. Watching Richard in practice, he talks to his players. It's in measured tones. He doesn't scream, but he has economy of language. He lets them know, there it is right there. He's letting them know exactly what he expects. And he has high accountability factor.
Somebody's going to have to be accountable for letting Harris slip open for 3. The lead back up to 8 now. Under 13 minutes to go in a berth in the NCAA tournament. An automatic bid on the line. Bell on the drive. What a reverse move by Cameron Bell.
Only known as a big physical rebounder right there. Athleticism showcased.
TJ Price on the drive. Got blocked out of bounds. And that's going to be FIU basketball. But one more look at Cam Bell.
Cameron Bell, versatile. He can play the 1, 2, 3, and 4 spots. And there you see his ability to be a one guard taking to the basket.
He's one of only 3 returning scholarship players FIU has this year.
Which makes the story even more amazing.
There's Smith coming off the screen. Malik starting to light it up.
Just see him kick his foot out a little bit right there, trying to draw a little contact by the foul. Smart kick.
For that 4-point play, the lead down to 3. First cross court to Kaspar.
Fant wants it.
Well, he's working hard. You got to reward him, right? If he's posting
got to get
like
it to him. There it is. Good defense.
Bad pass too as Price turns it over. And Bell. And Pitino ends up catching the pass. Murphy wasn't expecting it. A critical turnover in a low possession game. Timeout on the floor. When we come back, we'll look at the significant impact and the contribution so far. What do you make of Creighton, another quote-unquote mid-major?
Creighton is playing their best basketball of the season right now. They're playing in hyperdrive. They're getting up and down the floor. Doug McDermott's such a dangerous player in the paint from 3 and from mid-range. And there's an offensive foul.
The defense by Hill to draw the foul. And what about Florida Gulf Coast? The Eagles, Andy Enfield, head coach, doing a nice job there in his second year.
A little push off right there. And Florida Gulf Coast, they knocked off Miami before Miami went on that long winning streak. Belmont be a good Murray State too. Isaiah Canning, he'll be in the NBA. You'll be seeing him pretty soon.
Yep. Hill on the drive, nice feed. Well, shut down quickly on Cam Bell. He kicked it out. Active hands again by the Hilltoppers. FIU almost took it back. 3-point ball game, 11:22 to go. Western Kentucky looking for its 4th consecutive win in as many days.
You know, Mark, with Belmont winning the OVC, a lot of people don't know that the OVC has won an NCAA tournament game the last 4 years in a row. One of those was Morehead State knocking off Rick Pitino in Louisville in 2010 with Kenneth Fareed, who's now with the Denver Nuggets.
The Manimal. Whistle and a foul. Boy, you can see the agonizing.
Yeah.
Dad/coach. Well, you can't even enjoy the game when you're watching. Is that the way it goes?
When you're a parent, you can't. I know that for a fact. All you do is just try to survive the experience. Hope your son wins.
That's 4 fouls now on Bell. And kicks it out to Harris. Harris has knocked down some very timely 3-pointers. They go inside to Fent. Double teamed. Back out to Harris for 3. Oh! Fent with the putback good. Boy, he knocked his own man out of the way to get it.
The reason why he got the offensive glass, 3 defenders converged on him and he passed it out, which forced the defense to react, which left him a wide open avenue to the offensive glass.
He's got 11 in the ball game. Approaching 10 minutes to go. Eric Hill on the dish. Whistle. And a foul called against Western Kentucky. That's against TJ Price. That's going to be his 3rd personal foul. Coach, you leave him in? I mean, he sat for most of a good part of the later part of the first half with fouls.
I'd leave him in for a while and then give him a blow before the next TV timeout. you know what? I sure would attack him hard. And Richard Pitino knows that. They're going to go right after Price.
And with Murphy, perhaps their leading scorer. Frink got a fortuitous roll. And it falls. Frink, a 33% three-ball shooter, makes it a 2-point game. He's got 11. Foul called against FIU. That's against Frink. That's his third. And the Hilltoppers now will go to the free throw line and shoot the bonus the rest of the way with 10:19 to go.
Frink, one of those St. Anthony's guys, played for Bob Hurley. That's one thing that Richard Pitino has put a premium on. Bring guys in that understand how to win. Tymel Murphy as well, played at South Plains. Played with Marshall Henderson. Now at Ole Miss.
Might be the most demonstrative player in all of college basketball this year, and I mean that as a compliment.
I'm not certain I do.
I'm just trying to be diplomatic here.
I'd go to an early grave, I think, maybe coaching him. I'm not sure.
You can look up demonstrative and interpret it that definition any way you want, folks.
I'm kind of old school, you know. All the guys that are waving their threes and everything every time they make a three. I mean, act like you've been there before.
Crook knocks down the first of 2 foul shots, a 72% free throw shooter on the season.
Which explains why I'm sitting next to you now, Mark. I couldn't survive now.
Crook makes 2. Just when it looked like the Hilltoppers were going to be able to put FIU away, they had to lead up to 8 points. The Panthers battling back.
And we're talking about a team that's played from behind all year in FIU. They're picked for 10th out of 11 teams in the Sun Belt.
Boy, you can call it a pass, I guess. Tola Okamola Lafe got the bucket.
And nobody blocked off. We saw it last night, FIU and Western Kentucky. FIU took every knockout punch throughout that basketball game and just found a way to win at the end. They're on a similar path here tonight.
Price and Fenn on the same side of the floor. Fenn misses the jump hook. And now FIU with a chance to tie it up. Murphy back out to Hill. They're going to run a little offense. Backdoor pass a little bit low. Whistle and a foul going to go against FIU and Murphy. Well, we talked about Middle Tennessee. 17-game winning streak snapped last night by FIU, but their strength of schedule, 135. Their tournament resume, their RPI at 28. Defeated Ole Miss.
But their non-conference schedule was 9th in the country.
Right.
28 wins. They won 17 in a row. They had the second-best road record in the country. They knocked off Ole Miss. Okay, so their bad loss, they lost to FIU. Well, where's FIU? They're a team that continued to get better and better throughout the season. I think Middle Tennessee is in. I know Joe Lenardi right now disagrees, but here's the key. Who's going to win the conference tournaments?
Right.
If the favorites continue to win the conference tournaments, then there's not going to be those bumps at the bubble teams. And that's typically what happens throughout championship week. That more times than not, your better teams end up winning their conference tournament.
You look at some of Middle Tennessee's losses. 3 of their 4 regular season losses were to conference champions. So they got a great shot at getting in, should be in. Murphy chasing down the loose ball, not in time. It'll be Western Kentucky basketball coming back the other way.
And Murphy tried to call a timeout as he was flying out of bounds. You can't do that anymore. Once upon a time, just a few years ago, you could do that. Now you have to have both feet in bounds.
You like the rule change?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. There's only one other rule change I'd like to see.
What's that?
And that's the 10-second rule in college basketball. You cannot call a timeout to save your team of losing possession.
Price gets it over in time. Under 9 minutes to go. Western Kentucky looking for its 20th win of the season. It would be the one that would put them in the NCAA tournament for the 4th time in the last 6 seasons. Good defense out front by Hill. And the ball pressure ends up forcing another turnover. As we look at Joe Lenardi's bracketology, first 4 out and last 4 in.
And look at the first 4 out according to Joe. Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Baylor. There's a lot of folks in the state of Tennessee right now wringing their hands and hoping good things happen on Selection Sunday. And Conzo Martin, his ball club's played very good basketball here coming down the stretch.
Won 8 of their last 9. Win at home against Missouri a few days ago. His team really peaking at the right time. Another late season run. Nice feed inside by Hill.
Hill makes everybody better on the floor. He has such great vision. We talked to him before the game. He said being an option quarterback in football taught him how to see everything in basketball. Man, does he see it.
And kicks it out to Harris. Price on the move. Rebound. And FIU now with a chance to take the lead with under 8 minutes to go. They battle back from an 8-point deficit. And that 8-point deficit, Coach, it felt like a lot more because it was such a half-court game at the time.
Yeah, tempo was controlled, but now Derek Hill starting to exert his will off the bounce.
Hill refuses the ball screen. Had it swatted away by Fenn and kept in bounds by Fenn.
Well, Fant really reacted well. Hill tried to bait him with a little pass fake.
And Western Kentucky calls timeout. Coach Harper has 3 remaining. Some blind resumes. You try and guess who they are?
No, we're going to find out who I'm going to pick here. Schedule strength, let's see here. Well, schedule strength, middle team. We got the BPI rank, so I like that right there. And then we go down to RPI rank. We've got right there. But you know what? What I like the best is the top. There's 5 games right there against the top 50 and 2 and 3 against those teams. I like the middle team. No guesses. I like the middle team. Show me. LaSalle. The LaSalle Explorers right there. John Giannini of the A-10. St. Mary's on the left coming up next against Gonzaga and Middle Tennessee.
So you put a little more value and premium on the record against RPI top 50s?
And that's the key. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Okay.
But I think you should be rewarded when you go on the road. And listen, here's the other thing. From a scheduling perspective, if you're a Power 6 team, you play 80 to 90% of your games at home or a neutral site in non-conference play. The RPI and the BPI, they're wonderful tools. The BPI is better, by the way. But bottom line is, the way the scheduling is set up in non-conference, Power 6 teams have every advantage in the world to get to the NCAA tournament.
Whistling a foul against the Panthers and Derek Hill. Hilltoppers will go to the free throw line when we come back. It's a 1-point game, 7-20. Okomolafe is going to be whistled for the foul. That's his 3rd. 6'6" senior out of El Paso, and that puts Fant on the free throw line.
Tolo Okomolafe, he definitely throws his body around out there. I mean, he's a guy that leaves it all out there. He's one of those blue-collar guys. I like the way he just gets in there and just kind of a little bit nasty about things.
Fant makes the first of 2. George Fant, 3rd team all Sun Belt Conference this year. Having a much better night tonight than he did last night when he only had 5 and 3 against Arkansas State.
And Ray Harper said that if George Fant doesn't play well, there's no way Western Kentucky can beat FIU. And now Western Kentucky goes to their 3-2 zone.
Here's Hill. Rebounded. Great effort by Okomolafe. Jump shot off the mark by Smith. And back comes Western Kentucky.
You know, we're also at a point now where 3 games in 3 days, 4 games in 4 days. You know, this is where jump shots start becoming short all the time. Tired legs.
Which of these teams has the advantage in terms of their depth and using more bodies, or does anyone?
I think Western Kentucky's just physically stronger.
Off the 3 ball by Price. Here's Malik Smith. Had it partially blocked. Great defensive effort. And Price in a hurry the other way. And now they're going to run a little offense. Crook. A couple of empty possessions for both teams. As Cameron Bell gets set to check in for Richard Pitino. A great recovery by Hill. 15 on the shot clock. Back to Crook.
Well, Western Kentucky has run nothing on this possession. They finally get into a set.
Fant knocks down the mid-range. Great patience pays off. And the lead up to 6.
Pick and pop right there. Well executed. Used a lot of clock.
And Richard Pitino, the first-year head coach for FIU, calls timeout.
30-second timeout.
Well, championship.
The defense, and Fant went to the open wood area.
There's a look at the rich history for the Hilltoppers. 42 conference championships, 40 seasons with 20 or more wins. A tournament berth would be their 4th in the last 6 seasons. See what FIU runs coming out of the timeout. Bell checking in.
You got to think Malik Smith is a guy that the defense of Western Kentucky will focus on. He's the big shot maker for this team.
Bell with the floater, got it.
Nice.
A crucial basket at this juncture of the game. Well, nothing easy coming. Both teams forced to run their half court. Van goes quick with it. They kept it alive, and the Hilltoppers with another possession. Harris. Wide open three. Got it. Another pivotal 3-ball by Brandon Harris.
Well, the right side of the zone just got lost.
Lead ballooning up to 7 with 4.5 minutes to go. Bell, another floater, another bucket. And Bell.
He is so under control when he gets to the paint. Little 2-foot jump stop, just goes straight up. Can't draw a charge on him.
He's got 11 now. Brook walked with it out front, dragged his pivot foot. And Harper wants to talk it over with him just a little bit.
It's like a tennis unforced error right there.
Substitution, Western Kentucky.
And Brook is going to get a little breather here. Kaspar comes in for him. 6-foot sophomore out of Istanbul, Turkey.
This is part of that relationship right here we talked about. Ray Harper talking to his point guard, trying to settle him down. He'll bring him back in under the TV timeout.
There's Bell, who's knocked down the last couple of buckets for the Panthers. Out to Hill. Smith, a deep 3. Hill, the smallest guy on the floor with the rebound, in amongst the trees, gets it to go. That's the type of temerity and toughness that he plays with. 4 points in the game.
Well, you said it, just tough. Number 1, Derek Hill.
Back to a 3-point game, 3.5 to go. The team settling in. Kaspar running the point with Crook on the bench. Harris, another 3-ball. This one off the mark. And a chance for FIU to cut it to 1 or tie it with a 3. Bell wheeling and couldn't finish. Got right to the basket.
Well, that's the first time we've seen Western Kentucky in their transition defense exposed. Cameron Bell got all the way to the rim.
As you mentioned, it's the 4th game for Western Kentucky, the 3rd game in as many nights for FIU. Those legs get a little wobbly with fatigue beginning to set in. And here's what's at stake.
Thank you for submitting your
FIU looking for a little history. Here's what happened last year. Western Kentucky facing North Texas. Tony Mitchell was getting it done for the #1 seed, but then the Hilltoppers rallied late. And at the end, Fant with a baseline jumper. An improbable, almost implausible story as the Hilltoppers ran the table in 4 days to win the Sun Belt Conference tournament.
Now, Western Kentucky, there you see 6 out of the last 7 years, excuse me, 3 out of the last 6 years. And Western Kentucky last season was just an amazing story. This was a team that was dead and buried. Their coach was fired. Ray Harper takes over. He challenges his team down 30 in the locker room in January. Our goal, forget about the scoreboard. Let's be the toughest team every night. And they built on that and built on that until they came here and won in Hot Springs, Arkansas to be the Sun Belt Conference champions. 4 games in 4 nights by Ray Harper, and they're trying to do it again.
Coach Harper, the former head coach at Kentucky Wesleyan and Oklahoma City University, won 2 national titles at both places, Division II schools.
And of course, Ty Rodgers, remember that big shot, knocking off Drake in the NCAA tournament?
Under 3 minutes to go. Hilltoppers with 2 timeouts remaining. FIU with 1. Crook checks back into the ball game. They throw it into the backcourt.
Hill's going to really turn up the heat. He got a turnover on Crook the last time.
Rice to Fant. They double team Fant. They reposted to him. Strong move, a man's move inside by George Fant. And the local product out of Bowling Green, Kentucky, has 17 points and 12 rebounds in the biggest game of the year for the Hilltoppers.
Bad shot.
Boy, that was a heat check for sure. Bell, a little indiscretion. His team down by 5, and that's going to be a block that time against Derek Hill. FIU looking for a big comeback with an uphill climb with 2:19 to go. One of these teams is going to the big dance. Let's look at championship week by the numbers. 225 men's and women's games on ESPN networks, 40 tickets punched, 27 conferences represented, and this is nirvana for basketball fans. As Crook misses the first of 2, he's a 72% foul shooter.
Short. That's why George Fant is so critical coming down the stretch, because big guys, doesn't matter. When you got a big workhorse down low, just feed him, give him the basketball, let him go to war.
Is that the key for them closing this thing out now with a 6-point lead?
I think it is. Play inside-out basketball.
What does FIU have to do to overcome this deficit?
Attack. Spread the defense. They're in man-to-man now. Attack off the dribble.
League Smith, well guarded by Harris. Bell handling. Whistle and a foul. That's going to go against Fent. One more look at Fent's work in the post.
Watch him inside. He gives it up, and then watch what he does. He reposts inside. That's why he's successful. Ball goes outside, goes to inside, and he reposts. That's well executed.
Meanwhile, FIU an opportunity to chop this down to 4 with the clock stopped. Cameron Bell at the foul line, an 81% free throw shooter. He's had a couple of big buckets for them here in the second half. 15 points, 4 rebounds in that upset against Middle Tennessee. But he misses the front end of the bonus.
Well, that's why early games when you can rest your guys, if you can get a big lead, it's just so critical because it pays off on the last day of the tournament.
Interesting. It was Western Kentucky that had the late game actually last night against Arkansas State. FIU played the first game against Middle Tennessee. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Time to get busy. Crook, nice handle. The floater goes.
Through his legs.
Wow. Not sure he meant to do it that way, but it turned out well. Bell fouled underneath. Stops the clock with 1:17 to go. One more look at the handle by Jamal Crook.
This is why you do all those ball handling drills. Look at that. He did mean to do it.
And looked very poised doing it, Coach. Crook with 14 points.
I'm feeling a little Sports Center right there. You feeling it?
Hashtag SC Top 10.
There you go.
That's how it goes. Bell, meanwhile, countering with the free throw.
I don't think it's a 1. I think it's like a 5 to 8 seed. Don't you think so?
I'm with you on that. I might go 8 to 10, but still a great move.
All right.
Bell knocks down both.
Now watch this now. I want to look at that.
Wow, that's pretty sweet.
That's at least a 5.
Power steering and power brakes by Jamal Crook.
That's nice. I like that.
Forced to pick up his dribble. Harris on the press break. Wise move to pull it out, right, Coach?
Really is. That's smart. Break pressure. Use shot clock.
Boy, look at Hill just dogging Crook out front. Under a minute to go. Western Kentucky 53 seconds away, but an offensive foul called. That's going to go against Price. Check that. It's going to be against Rostov.
Yeah, I think Ray Harper just wanted TJ Price to go one-on-one and not even bring another defender up. That's what he's telling Rostov right there, to just stay on the baseline. Let TJ Price make the play. They run that 1-4 in big game situations.
6-point deficit. Are you looking at a 2 or do you go for a 3 here? What's the thinking?
Off the dribble, get in the paint. If you get a 3 off an inside out, that's fine.
Bell got stripped, but a foul called. And it looks like they're going to say it's on the shot. The foul is going to go against Jamal Crook, his 3rd.
Now, if the ball's coming up for the shot, it can be down at his hip, but if it's coming up, boy, that looked like a clean ball right there.
Ooh.
I don't dispute that the foul, the phantom foul, was on the shot because the ball was coming up in the shooting pocket, but that looked like all ball.
Nonetheless, Cameron Bell, an 81% foul shooter at the line, makes the first.
Pitino family here tonight.
Dad watching in attendance as well. It's a 4-point game. And here comes the full court pressure.
Trap hard.
Crook gets it back to Price. Good poise to break the press. And an offensive foul. I'm not so sure about that one. Hill really sold it well. Let's take another look.
Does he establish defensive position? And there's contact there, but wow. Hill did sell it.
He sold it pretty
Sold
good.
it really well.
If it was sold. And now a chance for FIU to pull to within 2. Still a lot of time remaining. A 2 or a 3 here. What do you do?
Western Kentucky goes 2-3 zone. They could be vulnerable from behind the arc on inside out. There's Frink.
Frink with the jumper. Rattles in. And it's a 2-point game. So the offensive foul call against Crook turns into a bucket at the other end for FIU. And it's down to a 2-point game, but FIU is out of timeouts.
Watch how the defenders all come out on shooters trying to take away the 3, and Frink is wide open in that dead space of the zone and knocks down the jump shot. Smart basketball by FIU. I mean, here you're playing basically for overtime. You may get the luxury of the win, but when you can get a 2 and cut the lead in half, that's smart basketball right there.
Meanwhile, Western Kentucky coach has 2 timeouts remaining. Both teams are shooting the double bonus, shooting 2 free throws on a foul. Now, what's the thinking now if you're Western Kentucky? You got the ball. You're coming back the other way. You know you're going to face that full court press. What are you doing?
Western Kentucky obviously get the ball in bounds and then protect the basketball. But conversely, if I'm Richard Pitino right now, I'm giving my team about 10 seconds to trap as hard as they can to get the steal. And I'm telling them, look, trap as hard as you have to get the basketball and hope the official swallows the whistle. If you got to foul a little bit to get it, go ahead and foul because it'll stop the clock anyway. But I'm going to sell out on the trap to try to get the steal.
To see who the Hilltoppers come back into the game with. Their best free throw shooter is actually the big man Rostov, but he's not on the floor right now.
One thing Ray Harper does a good job of in full court out of bounds plays, typically there's always one flyer. There's a deep opportunity for an easy score. He likes to spread the floor that way. It gives everybody else some space to move.
Keep in mind, Crook can run the baseline. It's after a made bucket. And he uses the baseline, gets it into Price. And they tried to get the trap, as you said. They commit the foul, sending Crook to the foul line for 2. So if he makes 2 free throws here, he makes it a 2-possession game for FIU.
That was a really good full court out of bounds. You had 3 guys moving in unison, screening, coming to the ball, and they sent Fant deep, which drug another defender out of that half court.
Louisville coach Rick Pitino watching his son's team from the stands. Crook 6 of 9 today from the foul line. With that 7 attempt and a big make. This next one is really huge because it makes it a 2-possession game.
Even so, 23.6, a ton of time, especially when you've got a Derek Hill that can go coast to coast in 4 seconds or less.
knocks down both. It's a 4-point lead. Malik Smith, the best three-point shooter on the floor for FIU.
And the zone gets set.
It's going to be a kick ball. It's 16.8 to go. You going for a three here or a two, or does it matter at this point?
Either one, because a two will do you just as good. You're playing for overtime here is really what you're doing. You're trying to squeeze 4 points out of the next 16 seconds.
Well inbound. It had Frank for a quick moment. Point guard Hill missing off the backboard, and that might just do it. They're going to try and dribble it out. Crook. They can't catch him. You got a foul. They finally do. And with 5.7 seconds to go, the Hilltoppers will shoot a couple of free throws and are 5.7 away from winning 4 games in a row and making a repeat trip to the NCAA tournament.
A forced shot right there, and Jamal Crook just breaks away. And now Western Kentucky, for the first time in at least 17 years, can win back-to-back conference championships after winning 4 games in 4 days in 2 years.
Well, last year, Ray Harper took over from Ken McDonald after he was dismissed first as the interim and then the full-time head coach. Won 4 games in 4 days here at the conference tournament. And who would have thought that they would do it again? The remix back in effect. 5-point lead after Crook knocked down the first foul shot. This one is cooked, glazed, and about to be sliced. The Hilltoppers are almost going to punch their ticket. It's a 2-point game. They got to foul quick. And that's it. It's over. Western Kentucky, the Sun Belt Conference Tournament champs. The big fella George Fant leading the way. Crook sealing the deal. 65-63 the final score. The Hilltoppers win it. Right now we're going to send you to Las Vegas and the West Coast Conference Championship. For Mark Adams, I'm Mark Jones. So long. Let's go.